Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me for the solutions to the POCTF 2024 crypto challenges. I'm going to go through the solutions for all of the crypto challenges except for Crypto 400. If you want the solution to that, go and visit the special 400 level challenges video. If you're watching this here in 2025, trying to get the solutions to 2024, I do want to say thank you very much for your patience. I know it was quite a long wait, far longer than I intended, but well, I'm glad to be back and glad to provide these solutions, and looking forward to the 2025 contest. So let's start with Crypto 100 for all the world to see. Here, I say, in an ancient Babylonian city, archaeologists are busy working to uncover an ancient palace complex. I tell you that there's a toilet seat, that somebody took a sketch of them, and then I provide you with a facsimile of that sketch. And, excuse me, something like this, right? So the challenge text implies that these are toilet seats, and then on the front of the thing is this message here, right? Do I give any additional clues? Let's see. And I give you a Veracrypt container. That's what you have to unlock. The text here in the front, okay, I know that this is going to be kind of a wasted time, but if you didn't get this challenge, allow me to give you a tip for challenges like this or puzzles like this in the future. Whenever you see a handful of individual symbols like this that are all distinct, then you should immediately assume it's an alphabet. And if we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26 unique characters equals the English alphabet, or most likely the English alphabet. So if you saw that, then you know what you're looking at, and the key is to figure out where the letter A is. Now, these could be randomly arranged, and that would be diabolical. But even if they're randomly arranged, then it's simply a cryptogram, and you can solve it. You just look for patterns in the words, either syntactic analysis, grammatical analysis, frequency analysis. The letter E happens to be the most common letter in the English alphabet, and if you look at the ciphertext here below, you see an awful lot of a certain symbol that's used again and again and again, which is most likely going to be E. So let's, I guess, go. Let's go with that, huh? Let's try and, instead of just telling you the answer, I'll show you how you may have solved it. So this symbol comes up a lot. This 2 dots with the apostrophe in the middle. In our symbol table, that's right here. Okay? Now let's assume that this is E. Okay, so then this is E, this is E, this is E, this, all of those. Let's, E is the 5th letter of the alphabet. So let's go backwards, because here is this symbol over here, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the 5th letter. This is letter 1, presumably, which would be A in the English alphabet. And we have 2 places, here and here, where those letters appear next to each other. So here we have something A, something E, something, something, E, A, something. Okay? So this is A and this is E. Let's try to find, let's try to find this symbol, the double X's. I happen to see that they're relatively close to each other, so it should be easy to do the count pretty quick for a video like this. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Okay, so this should be E, A, K. that so far is making sense. There are some, I mean, E and A as a combination of letters. Geez. As a bigram. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Don't know why I forgot that. I work in stylometry. So as a bigram is very common in the English alphabet. And sure, there's not that many words that end in E, A, and K, but there's a couple. Steak, for example. But let's see if we can confirm this by testing our theory with these other letters. So K, L, M, N, O, P. I'm looking for the other symbol. Well, actually, this could go either way. This could be P or this could be P. So let's try... well, if this is P, then this is Z, and there's no words that I know of that are something Z-E-A-K. So it must be this way. This must be P. Peak. We have P-E-A-K. All right. P-Q-R-S. S-P-E-A-K. Speak. We've identified 5 letters of our alphabet, and what's more, we know that it's the English alphabet in order, going from A here, around counterclockwise, across, and around counterclockwise again. This is Z. So now we can just simply decipher it. And no problem, right? We just substitute the symbols for the letters that they represent. We're all good. We could have done this with any of these words. We started with a couple up here because I noticed that they were right next to each other. We also had an E here we could have worked with. Typically, when you're doing this kind of method, you want to stick with relatively short words. So let's say, for example, we have this, which is this symbol, and then this symbol. And down here we have that reversed. So what words in the English language are 2 letters, and we can form 2 different words depending on the order of those letters. First, second, or second, first. There's, let's see, I'm trying to think of anything other than the actual word that it is. I mean, there's am and ma, but ma is just kind of a slang term for mother. But I suppose that's still possible. The message could simply be very informal. God, what else do we got? Of, and let's see, fo would have an E at the end, so no. Yeah, I can only think of what it actually is, which is the word no and on. So shorter letters tend to give you, shorter words rather, tend to give you more opportunity. Let's maybe a better example is this one down here, an English word with 3 letters where 2 of them are identical, the last 2. So there's the word too, as in too much. That has T-O-O, that could be it. There's also like aw, like A-W-W, but again, that would be slang. But the word that we're looking for here is all, right? So take the smaller words, break them down, and do a little frequency analysis, find out what the common letters are, and so on, and go from there. Oh, sorry. The message. It says, speak the name Nebuchadnezzar. No one forgets the Babylonian. We all look on. The password to the archive was Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, that was just the first one. I went on too long. I'm sorry. Let me try and speed things up a little bit so you don't have to jump around so much. Crypto 100, fortune and failure. Normally in a situation like this, I'd have to give you a clue about the key. Well, this time I don't need to. 3 reasons. 1, the key is short. 2, you know part of the message. And 3, tell you nothing. I provide you with ciphertext. And you can see the ciphertext is formatted to look, well, it's the same format as our flags, right? We know that every flag starts with POCTF, curly bracket, UWSP, underscore, and then the message. So POCTF, that's enough letters. Curly bracket UWSP, okay, that's enough letters too. So it might start with POCTF UWSP. Well, take a closer look at it now. If this is supposed to be replacing POCTF curly bracket UWSP, the O is exactly where it's supposed to be. The T is exactly where it's supposed to be. The U is exactly where it's supposed to be. And the S is exactly where it's supposed to be. Those are unchanged. So the key is obviously short, and one of the positions in the key is 0. We move forward 0 places to encrypt those. So every other letter appears to be unencrypted. So O, T, U, S, so on and so forth, all the way to the end. It's only half encrypted. Let's see what else I gave you, though. All right, there it is. Yes, every other letter is unencrypted. So O, T, U, S, the number 4, the second number 4, the W, the 4, the K, so on and so forth, all the ways through. Now, that could mean that it's a 2-letter key, maybe. But we know that at least one of those letters would be A, which means all we have to do is just figure out the other 2 or the other 1 or 2 letters that make up the key. So we know that this is supposed to be a P, and if we count the number of letters between H and P, that gives us the letter that we're looking for, right? Or the position that we're looking for. Same thing then with the rest of the message, every other letter. If you did that, you would realize that every other letter is unencrypted, but the letter that is encrypted is one of 2 different positions. So we have a key that is some letter other than A, some letter other than A. It's a 4-letter key. And the key in this case is Sarah, a name, S-A-R-A. Next, we have Crypto 100, the Symmetry of Nature. Oh, right, this one of my favorites. In this challenge, I talk about Castor and Pollux. I go a long way to not saying the name. I go to extraordinary lengths to not say the name Pollux in this. I talk about the constellation Gemini. If you look up the constellation Gemini, if you're not familiar with the origin of that constellation, or if it's known by some other name in your culture, you could still just look it up. I mentioned specifically that I'm referring to the Gemini of the Greek myth origin, so there's no confusion there. And they involve twins. And I say one of those twins was Castor, but I never named the other one. And then I talk about the film Face Off, which also faced a pair of brothers where they shared the names of the people within that constellation myth in the movie Face Off, where I say Castor, who's played by Nicolas Cage, whatever. I'm just talking about them. I go a long way to not mention the word Pollux, the name Pollux. That's because this is a Pollux cipher. With a Pollux cipher, you need breaks, dits, and dots, and so I provide at the end of all of this mysterious pattern right here. And I provide this ciphertext, and I make sure that the curly brackets are in there so that you know that this is indeed the key. It's just encrypted once you figure out the type of cipher that it is. So it's a Pollux cipher. If you use the breaks, dits, and dots that I provided here, you just decode it. You don't even... the Pollux is not a keyword, it's the type of cipher used. Next, Crypto 200, everyone's friend. This one, I figured people would identify it immediately, so I didn't bother with a lot of challenge text. So I decided to just go with a bunch of acronyms. If you know, you know. Am I right? RSAAF. Good luck. Have fun. POCTF 2024. And then I provide you with P, Q, N, and the public key, and I give you C, the ciphertext. You're just reversing RSA. That's it. Next, we have Crypto 200 Knuckle Buster. In this one, individuals Alice and Bob are communicating in secret. They will use the Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol to protect their communication. I will provide you with enough information to decrypt the message, a message intercepted between them, rather. All you need to do is calculate the secret shared, I don't know why I'm doing that, this shared secret, and decrypt it to get the flag. So I give you the encrypted flag. I tell you it was encrypted using AES 256 cipher blockchain with a SHA-256 for key derivation and a prepend of 16 bytes for the IV. I give you public A, so there's the public key. I give you the private key for B, for Bob, the Diffie-Hellman parameters, and then I provide just an encrypted file that is the text file that contains the flag. I don't know what to say about this one. I mean, it is what it says it is. You're just calculating the missing key, and you're decrypting the message. That's really all it is. I think I had a lot of questions about this, but to be honest with you, for the life of me, I can't remember exactly what they were. I guess what I can do, I'll show my my solution script, my test script. Maybe that would, oh come on, maybe that would answer any questions that people might have. So if you don't know how to do this, it's really quite simple. I know it might look complicated if you're unfamiliar with it, but there's really nothing to it. I'm doing a lot of kind of unnecessary imports here. I probably should have just imported the packages and been done with it, but there you go. You generate the Diffie-Hellman parameters and private keys. This is setting up the challenge. Well, I suppose I should probably just go right to the solution. All right. So my last step, testing the decryption to make sure it works. So we load up the flag text encrypted file. We read the contents. That would be our ciphertext that we're attempting to decrypt. We derive the shared secret from person 2's private key and person 1's public key in a Diffie-Hellman key exchange. That is part of establishing secure communications through an open handshake. So how do you share a secret in public that does not destroy confidentiality if it were to be intercepted? The Diffie-Hellman protocol is a pretty elegant solution to that, which is why it's still used today. And that essentially means that both parties, they have a secret, and they maintain that secret. They agree on a shared secret number. We call it like a public number, right? I'm simplifying this process. I'm assuming that if you're watching this at this point, you're not familiar with the process of this. So you just exchange, let's say a number in this case. Now, person A and person B, they do not know what the other person's secret number is, but they of course know their own, right? So those are private keys. They agree on a number, and they can shout that number out in public, and it doesn't matter. They both take that number, they mix it with their secret, and then pass that on to be mixed with their secret. The metaphor that I really like to use for this is mixing paint. Let me see if I can. There's a diagram I like to use in class. All right, so here's a diagram that I like to use, which will do a far better job of illustrating the point than me struggling to just explain mixing numbers and stuff like that. I like the paint metaphor. It's not perfect, But I like it for explaining the basic concept. Okay, so Alice and Bob, they have a secret that they share, but again, it's not necessary that it be kept secret because it's only part of the overall equation that goes into establishing secure connection, establishing their secrets in this fashion. But they both know the color yellow in this case. Now, Alice has a secret color. She does not share this with Bob or anyone else. Bob has a different color, does not share this with Alice or anyone else. They mix their common color with their secret color. Now, that will obviously derive two completely different colors, right? But since the colors are mixed and one of those colors is secret, it's very difficult, as it says here, mixture separation is impractical, right? You can just send that secret forward to each other. It doesn't have to be, a secret exchange, right? Because their secret is protected by the ambiguity of the shade of the color. Once they get that, they have each other's mixed secret. They add their secret color as well. Now, the paint is mixed in different orders, right? This one is yellow and orange to make this weird shade of orange, and then that orange, and let's call it cyan. And on this side, it's yellow and cyan to create this blue, and then orange is in the mix after that. But because the paint is all mixed together in the same proportions, at the end of the day, you both get the same shade. And nobody is able, well, I shouldn't say nobody because, there's exceptions to everything. But because mixture separation is so impractical, for all intents and purposes, nobody can really predict this shade that they end up with at the end. Now, you just take the concept of paint here and you just math. It's not color, it's math. And there you go. Okay. Hopefully that answers your questions if you had any on that. And if you do that, you decrypt the flag and no problem at all. Crypto 200 rechance meeting. So, what one was this one? Let's see. I can't remember what this challenge was supposed to be about. See, I do development of the contest over the summer, and I also have a lot of other things going on. Oh, right. This one is the birthday attack challenge. So let's see. Is this one where I have the two lists? Flag, all of the words I know. The best hash function. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the one with the words list here. I tell you that the password is going to be 2 words on the all of the words I know list mashed together like this. And you'll know the 2 words because they generate the same hash value in the hash function that I have written here. It's a very bad hash function. It does not allow for enough determinism in order for there to be separate hashes for every word on this, and even short list like this. That's, of course, by design. So all you have to do is write a script to run my function, find words that come to the same hash value, mash them together, and try it on the zip file. And if you do that, you'd come up with several. I have a list of all of the password combinations that it could be, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't too onerous to try the list of all of those. Is it this? Yeah, there we go. All of the potential. I didn't want there to be too many collisions and then take a day to try every combination. So I ended up with. Let me do the full count here. Um, 119 collisions. For some reason, some of you, your mileage might vary. I don't know what was going on with that. It shouldn't have been an issue. And no offense, but I kind of have to assume that possibly it was user error. Again, not to blame you or anything if you had trouble with this one, but I mean, in my testing, and I tested it many different ways, I came up with 119 collisions. That's 119 potential passwords. And if you found it, you would have seen that there were two words, Moeso-Gothic and Tarzanish. So if you mash those together, Moeso-Gothic, Tarzanish, capital M, capital T, that would have been your password, and you would have been able to open it. Next, we have Crypto 300, Honor the Carnea. All right. So, Honor the Carnea. If you look it up, you'll see what the Carnea is. It's a special holiday celebration. And very famously, before the Battle of Thermopylae, King Leonidas tried to get the Spartan Council to grant him permission to go to war with the invading Persians, and they refused. Even consulting with the oracle to see if he could grant permission, the oracle told him that he needs to honor the holiday, honor the Carnea, and that's portrayed in what movie was that? 300, the movie 300. It's also in the graphic novel 300, of course. So if you look up that line, you would see that it's related to that Battle of Thermopylae and the death of the 300 and so on and so forth. And you might have come to that scene in the movie. When I Googled it, it was one of the first results. The scene with the oracle in the movie 300, where the elders interpret the oracle's words, telling him to honor the Carnea. So that was your clue that it's an oracle attack, basically. I talk about another movie here in the challenge text. That's by design. That was also to try and point you to the idea that it's, a movie-related sort of thing. Ghostbusters, I watched it all the time as a kid. It was one of those movies that wasn't really for children, but children end up loving it anyway. I learned a lot from those kinds of movies growing up, maybe more than I should have known, etc., etc. Then I mentioned that Dr. Venkman had a scene in Ghostbusters where he was testing the psychic abilities of some subjects by holding up cards with different symbols. He was using it to charm one of the subjects, but it got me really thinking about these tests and the limits of our perception. It's another hint that it's an oracle attack. Well, for this challenge, I'm going to administer a similar test to you, a padding oracle challenge. Oh, that's right. I debated on whether or not to come out and tell you that it was a padding oracle challenge because I thought that between the two movie references, it would be obvious. But I decided at the end of the day to add the line just telling you it's a padding oracle challenge because at this point in the contest, a lot of people were telling me, hey, we're not American. We're not American. We don't know what any of this stuff is or what it means. So I tried to make the contest more accessible by just coming out and saying it. See if you can guess the flag using your powers of inference and deduction. If you happen to have psychic powers, now is the time to use them. Use the first link to get the encrypted flag. Use the second link to do your work. Note there's a little hitch on this one. Hammer the server and you get a little timeout. So yes, I did put a little bit of a timeout for people who were flooding the server. It wasn't too long. I think it was just a minute. But I just didn't want the thing to be constantly crashing. It's a padding oracle attack. Oh, there was one hitch with this one. That was a little bit tricky. The padding oracle attack, of course, depends a lot on your block size. Let me show you my. Let's see. Oh, this is the wrong challenge. I'm still looking at Crypto 200. Let me go to the right directory. All right. You were probably working 16 at a time. Remember that works just fine as long as the message itself fits more or less exactly within that space, right? You have to keep in mind that due to the message size that may be a little bit off the mark on that one, that you have to take that into account and adjust accordingly. It was still solvable, I feel, even if you did run into that issue, because you would still end up with about 80% of the flag, and then you just had to correct. Hopefully, if you saw that, you figured out what your problem was, and you just adjusted your script to account for it. But if not, then hopefully you at least saw, yeah, this is the flag. I'm just having a little hitch here, and you just figured it out yourself. In my solution, let me see if I did anything special here. All right, so my process was to head to the URL and grab the ciphertext, inserted the ciphertext into my solution script, and then hit the URL, the padding underscore Oracle route. I made sure not to send, I put a, let's see, 5 requests per minute rate limit on it, so it took a little while. I do identify the correct block size as 16, but later on, let's see, is padding valid? Source request, text valid padding. Yeah, I put a check in here to see if the padding was valid, and then if not, it would go through an iterative process to decrypt the block from there. My limit on that was, yeah, it was, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just iterating through by one. So if it didn't hit the first time I attempted the decryption, it would just increment until we eventually got the right one. And that was about it. Next one, Crypto 300, overall a flop. In this challenge, I gave you an elliptic curve public key and an encrypted message. The encryption was done using a very weak ECC private key. Your task is to break the encryption by recovering the private key and decrypting the message. The parameters of the elliptic curve are also provided to assist you in your task, right? So I give you the parameters for the curve key generation, the public key, and then the ciphertext. And again, this is another one that I'm not sure what to add here. It is what it says on the tin. Just expect you to do it. The general process, I guess, if you're not familiar with it, in my solution, it's not necessary, but I created a text file and dumped the ciphertext into that just so I could work with a file. I then grabbed the encrypted message. Let's see, what was it? Was it byte by byte? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was byte by byte. And then I brute forced it using private keys. What was my space? It was 16-bit space, 1 through 65,536 then. I then looked for the first block in the message. I knew that I was on the right path if the first block came back with POCTF, because all flags begin with that, and this says that it's the flag. So yeah, I basically just iterated through the keys using the parameters that were given here. And when I got POCTF, I knew that I was on the right flag. I was on the right track. Anything else? I'm looking through my solution script. I don't see anything else special here. Yeah, that's about it. Crypto 300, Put Down Thy Wrath. This one was canceled. This was in the first wave of challenges, and I had to drop it from the contest like immediately after releasing it. It was a deployment error. It rendered the challenge completely arbitrary. You just had to look at the script that I provided you, and you saw the key in there. Very disappointing because I really wanted to do this one with the homomorphic encryption function. But yeah, I mean, the solution was meant to, use a homomorphic encryption with a weak implementation and allow it to be, just broken in that fashion. I provide you the public key, provide the ciphertext, and you just go to town breaking it. It's just that the actual deployment script didn't have the key in it, and it was totally my fault too, which is a super big bummer because it's just totally wasted effort on my part. But there it is. And that was our last crypto challenge, except for crypto 400. So come back and we'll do the forensic challenges.